So just as we share a lot of our wins, I think it's important to share a lot of our losses as well. December 2020, I had this idea that I was going to execute on. Now, if you know me, you know I'm a pretty massive geek when it comes to Star Wars, superheroes, Marvel, DC, any of that kind of stuff, right? And so if you know The Mandalorian, the Star Wars series, I was watching that religiously. And basically towards about what the back end of the Mandalorian Star Wars series, I decided, you know what, these would be some cool t-shirts. Now, all I wanted to do was just take two things I really enjoyed, which was the Mandalorian TV series and 90s hip hop.
It's all good, baby, baby.
And rap. So this is what I came up with. I basically just took a slogan from Notorious B.I.G.'s More Money, More Problems and changed it to More Beskar, More Problems, and a little picture of the Mandalorian helmet there. Now, if you don't know what Beskar is, it's essentially just the currency they use in Mandalorian, right? It's actually what his armor's made out of. And so as you can see, it's a bit of a passion project, and I was trying to kind of marry generating revenue with this passion project, as I'm sure a lot of people do with business ideas, right? And so I want to share with you my thought process around that. So step one, I created a Facebook page, called it Threads with Cred, Cred being short for credibility. Don't ask me why, it just came to my head and I just executed on it very quickly. The second step was buying the site. So I went into Shopify and bought the domain threadswithcred.com and then got a couple of mock-up images made up and threw the products onto the site. I used a very simple theme. I think it's actually just called Simple Theme from memory. And it just allows you to throw a product on there, a bit of text, and away you go. Now, I didn't do the designing myself. I went onto Fiverr and got about 2 or 3 artists and graphic designers to take the slogan, More Beskar, More Problems, and told them that, hey, I want the Mandalorian's helmet on there as well. And I just picked 2 or 3 of the designs that came out best. The next part was getting the pixel implemented on the Shopify website. Then I set up the ad account, set up the ads. I use a very standard formula. You can look at some of my other videos, but very quickly it's campaign budget, 4 to 5 different avatars or audiences, and then dynamic creative across all of those audiences. And then I actually hit the go button on it mid-December. So as you can see, 0 sales in this time period that I was testing. And this is one of the really interesting things I find about Facebook marketing especially, is that it enables you to either validate or invalidate your idea, whether you love it or not, whether you're passionate about it or not, whether it makes financial sense to continue, and whether it's going to be a sustainable business. This is obviously an example of something that isn't a sustainable business, hence why I'm calling it the failure. I shouldn't really call it a failure because I get a lot of learnings from these sort of steps, and I do that for every single one of our brands. I'll set client expectations for that as well, so that if the worst happens, what's the worst outcome? So you can remove some of that anxiety from your business venture and what you're financially putting in, and you can just think a hell of a lot clearly, and more importantly, just put your head on the pillow a little bit more soundly as well. Now, as you can see here, it wasn't an issue getting traffic. You know, we got 1,600 store session over 4 to 5 days very quickly. We got 78 add to cart sessions, 20 reach checkout, which is a 1.23%, which is, for me, a bit above average for a brand new store driving new traffic, new pixels, new ad account, everything. So it was working really well, but for whatever reason, just wasn't making sales. Now, if I was to speculate why it wasn't getting sales, possibly shipping fees because we're advertising worldwide. But most likely, the biggest sore thumb in this whole venture was the fact that it was pre-order. So on the Facebook ad itself, I did say on there that you had to pre-order this shirt and they'll be shipped out from the 14th of January 2021, as you can see down here on the website. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, in a world that is hell-bent on instant gratification, you know, I want this thing now. And I assume that's why Amazon's so popular. That probably didn't work in my favor in this particular scenario. I've seen it work in the past with some higher ticket items up around $400, $500, $600 per piece. And if it's a very unique product, you can't get it anywhere else, or at least it's very difficult to get it shipped in from somewhere else, then pre-order might work. But it did give me a lot of financial flexibility to not have to bring over a whole bunch of stock from overseas, sit it in a warehouse, and then, you know, get to this point and not having sold anything and then be under a lot of stress. So I probably spent about $700 Australian on this venture for about a 4 to 5, or I think even a 6-day test. And honestly, I would usually run these little test ventures for a lot longer, at least a month, to gather some more data. But at the rate that I was seeing data and some of the stuff that I've shown you today, to me, it was just a big fat no. That's not working. I'm not prepared to throw more money into this. So the learning curve from this that I hope you're getting is really that it's really important to set these boundaries with yourself so that you can emotionally detach from what's going on and think a little bit more logically so that you can make more validated decisions about what is working for your business or whether it's not working. And then you have some clear-cut data as to whether you want to continue that venture into the future. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know. Maybe leave a like, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. See you later.